Thank you, Dark Sparrow, Scene, and 46 for your support. It is much appreciated. Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and today's build is the Duel Wielding Void Knight based around Void damage and Rive. And with this we're going to be doing a lot of added physical damage, but most of it being Void damage. A lot of it we're going to get inside of the Rive tree, and Rive especially has a great node that gives you 100% more Void damage, as well as a lot of flat Void damage inside of its tree, which is really going to help us do a lot of damage. We also have Echoes as a Void Knight, and you can get extra damage from Echoes when a skill echoes, which increases the damage even further. We're also going to have Sigils giving us added Void damage. Abyssal Echoes is going to be giving us melee Void penetration. And then we'll be getting 100% crit chance based upon a lot of base crit chance that we have, and the percentage increased crit chance that you get from both Lunge and Anomaly. And those will be our 5 skills, tying it together to get you to 100% crit, doing a lot of physical but mostly Void melee damage. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the skills, the interactions, and exactly how it all works. For skills, I'm running Abyssal Echoes, Rive with +2 levels, Sigils of Hope, Anomaly, and Lunge. For Abyssal Echoes, we have this set up to do a bunch of echoing for some mana efficiency, for a huge area of chaining, and then of course for the melee Void penetration as well. So we have 2 points in Echomancer, 1 point in Temporal Echo, 4 points in Abyssal Cadence, 5 points in Distance Echoes, 3 points in Abyssal Infusion, which gives you 21% Void penetration with melee attacks for every time that you've manually cast Abyssal Echoes in the last 4 seconds. And then 5 points in Sonority, so that you have all of your echoes hitting in a much larger area. For Rive with +2 levels, we have this set up to get all of the more modifiers that we can, along with as much base Void damage as we can get. We have 2 points in Sever, 1 point in Twisting Fanes, 3 points in Savagery, which gives us 45% more hit damage against an ignited enemy, 3 points in Outburst, 1 point in Overwhelm, which is 50% more third strike hit damage, 3 points in Brutality, which is 60% more third strike damage, 1 point in Coup de Grace for the kill threshold of 15%, especially effective against high health rares and bosses, 2 points in Insidious for some flat Void damage, 1 point in Gaze into the Abyss. This gives you 100% more Void damage from Rive, which is huge because we're going to have a lot of added Void damage to it. And 4 points in the Abyss Gazes back for 24 flat added Void damage on the third strike. For Sigils of Hope, we get 4 added fire damage per sigil that we have active, and we'll have 3 of them here, but we're going to convert all of that to Void. So we have 4 points in Empowering Sigil, so that we get 24% increased damage per sigil. We'll have 3, that's 72%. 1 point in Last Wish, so there's a chance to summon a sigil on kill. 3 points in Decree of Flame, so that we get another 3 added fire damage per sigil active. This again is going to be converted with Void, with the 1 point in Sigils of Despair. So we are now getting 7 flat Void damage per sigil, 21 total, with increased Void damage per active sigil at 15%. That means you get 45% Void damage and 21 added flat Void damage when you have your 3 sigils active. Then we have 2 points in Word of Alacrity, and then 1 point to turn it into an instacast, which does raise the mana cost up a little bit and give it a cooldown, but we're not too worried about that. 5 points in Word of Power, so that we get 150% more melee damage for 3 seconds when we manually cast a Sigil of Hope. Then we have 2 points in Iron Sigils for some armor, and 1 point in Enduring Hope for the duration of +2 seconds. For Anomaly, we're using this for crit chance and leech. We got 1 point in Void Touched, 1 point in Immediacy, 1 point in Time Bubble, 4 points in Temporal Mastery, 1 point in Lingering Memory, 1 point in Time Lord, so the Time Bubble will follow us as we go, 4 points in Decimation for that 120% increased critical strike chance while we're in the Time Bubble, 1 point in Manipulation, 4 points in Time Meter, so that we get 2% more health leech, and this effect will be doubled for all of the Void damage we're doing, and then 2 points in Void Maul for 100% increased health leech. Then we have Lunge, which is also giving us critical strike chance. We'll also be invincible while lunging, and we have an extra charge on it to get an extra one if we've stacked up time in between mobs. So we got 4 points in Into the Fray, 1 point in Double Strike, 3 points in Tactician, 1 point in Deadly Aim. 4 points in Forge On gives us 100% increased armor for 2 seconds after we've attacked with Lunge. 1 point Unstoppable makes us invincible while lunging. 1 point in Initiative so that we get 40% increased damage and 40% more crit chance. And 5 points in Avenger's Charge takes that 40% and turns it into 240% increased crit chance after we have lunged. For passives, I have 30 points in the Sentinel base class, with 2 points in Overwhelm, 4 points in Counterattack, 8 points in Juggernaut, 5 points in Armor Clad, 5 points in Time and Faith, 1 point in Gladiator so we can dual weld, and 5 points in Blade Master. We have 15 points in the Paladin, with 8 points in Conviction, 2 points in Defiance, and 5 points in Flash of Brilliance, and this is to unlock the Sigils of Hope. 0 points in the Forge Guard, and 66 points in the Void Knight, with 10 points in Abyssal Endurance, 5 points in Temporal Corruption, 8 points in World Eater, 1 point in Void Corruption, 8 points in Void Blades, 4 points in Woe, 4 points in Singular Purpose, 5 points in Echoing Strikes, 10 points in Time Legion, 1 point in Avatar of Regret, 10 points in Dread. And then for our items and idols, so the idols you want are going to be the ones that have the Rive Critical Strike Multiplier. Try and get 4 of those. The suffix in this case, we have Ignite while at high health. You can get anything you want, increased armor. I believe you can also get the Void spell mana efficiency so that things can be cheaper. But the suffix doesn't really matter, just make sure the prefix is Rive Critical Strike Multiplier and try and get 4 of those, as that's really going to increase the amount of damage you do, especially in this build where we'll be running 100% crit. And then for our crafted items for our weapons, we have the added melee void damage as well as added melee critical strike chance. And I'm just going to hover over all of these. It's important to note that we have an axe in the main hand and a sword in the offhand, so that we get that 60% attack speed out of the passive, so that we have 1 axe and 1 sword. It will not work if you do 2 swords, or if you have something other than an axe in the main hand, since you can only have the sword in the offhand. But I hovered over all of these so that you could see them. You can pause the video here, or as always, go in the description, click on the link to the written guide, and that will take you to the LE forums, where there will be a link to the build planner as well as the loot filter, Discord, several other things, and there'll be some pros and cons list there. Everything that you need is there in the LE forum written guide. And then for the character sheet, as you can see, we have almost capped all resistances. We can get some better rolls to finish these off, but we're pretty high on them. We're sitting here with 35% armor just sitting in place. No dodge. We do have our 100% critical strike avoidance. We're just 1% shy of our 60% endurance. And we have a decent threshold of 370. Definitely aiming to get that much higher. And as we get some blessings, as we switch things around, we should be able to break 500 to 600 endurance threshold, which is really going to help increase your survivability. And then for the damage stats, really not that much damage. We got almost 300% critical strike multiplier, and that's without the idols. That doesn't include those. And then we have 200% void damage as well as 100% physical damage. And then for the way that you play this build in the skill rotation, I like to put Anomaly and Lunge both on autocast. And then really all I really like to do is in between mobs, I'll cast a Sigil and I'll cast an Abyssal Echoes, and then you'll lunge in, and then you'll just start whacking away with Rive. So I'll do a little cast of Abyssal, cast of Sigils, jump in and start attacking, and you can just keep the Abyssals, keep the Sigils, lunge in, and you can see that we're critting here with the third strike for about 150k, 200k on some really good hits there. If you get an Echo that does it, they're going to do a little bit more damage because we have an affix to give Echoes extra damage, but 220k, 250k is going to be about the maximum crit you're going to get out of an Echo, but it's still plenty of damage with how fast we're attacking and all of the crit chance that we have for us to be able to just clear through bosses, clear through Echoes. And really the main thing, the main takeaway from this build is that your survivability is going to be what what's going to keep you going. So you want to try and get that endurance up. You want to try and make sure that you have those capped resistances. It is going to take a while to grind out that gear. If you get exalted versions of anything, that's definitely going to help. But like I said, in this case, we have the critical strike avoidance. We're just a little shy on the resistance. We have about 350, endurance threshold. You want to aim for, if you can get to like 800, that would be perfect. But you're gonna need some better rolls on the resistance to open up some slots for that. All right, that's gonna be it for this build. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, stay safe, travelers. Here's some gameplay.